Autonomy amongst individual groups cannot be tolerated. The party must be supreme.
So let me get this straight, comrade. If the Jewish Bund refuses to surrender to party control over its own organization, this Congress is prepared to expel us from the party.
Yes, how
is
many
that the
times do
meaning?
I have to tell you? Yes.
Then I demand that this Procedures Committee rule that the resolution be deferred. There must be a commission.
You know what our collective view on the
We
board
are
is,
party
comrade?
We are now the
too.
Procedures Committee of the Second
Is there no
Congress of the
justice
Russian
in this
Socialist
party?
Comrades, 6 delegates have been arrested at their hotels. I'm informed that the Belgian police are on their way here to break up this meeting now. Comrades, the contingency plan is now operative. Congress will reconvene in London in 4 days' time. Go now.
Go on. Take care of Kopskaya. Ah, comrade, how fortunate. We'll travel together. I'm sorry I couldn't get Plekhanov to co-opt you on board. There was nothing I could do.
No.
Nothing, comrade.
No, of course.
Well, you coming with me?
No. I shall make my own way.
Avoid personalities, comrade. They could prove your downfall.
If we adopt Comrade Lenin's formula, we shall be throwing overboard a section of those who, even if they cannot be admitted to an organization, are nevertheless party members. We are a party of a class, comrades. We must take care that we do not leave outside the party ranks those people who consciously, though perhaps not very actively, associate themselves with our party. Indeed, the more widespread the title party member, the better.
Comrade Maltol is right.
People who support the party. For me, a conspiratorial organization only has meaning when it is enveloped by a broad social democratic working class party.
You're confusing a party with a movement, comrade. They're not the same thing.
No, comrade, it is you who are confused. You confuse the party with a bunch of professional thugs who will do your
Argument, comrades. Reserve your abuse for the enemy.
I look forward to the day, comrades, when every striker, every demonstrator against the Tsar and his regime accounts for his actions by stating, I am a member of the Social Democratic Party of Russia. If you support that hope, you will support this motion.
Comrade Lenin.
Thank you, Comrade Chairman. Comrades, you've heard the arguments, Martov's and mine. What we're arguing about is both an image and a reality. If you support my motion, you vote for coherence, organization, discipline. Above all, for power at the center. You will say, in effect, that it is important to distinguish between those who belong to the party and those who associate themselves with it. You will make the necessary distinction between an entire class shaped by capitalism and its vanguard, the party. The title party member is a fiction if it cannot be made to correspond to the facts. Capitalism is bound to weigh down wide sections of the working class with oppression, disunity, stultification. Social democracy seeks to lift the worker out of his present level of consciousness to a genuinely revolutionary one. But if we fail to recognize the distinction, there is no way we can achieve that end. Vote for Martov's proposal and you create a tea party. Not a party of revolutionaries ready to lead a class into battle.
Very well. Those in favor of Comrade Lenin's proposals on party membership? "23. Those in favor of Comrade Martov's proposals? "28. Comrade Martov's proposals are carried. The chair suggests a 15-minute adjournment.
Good fun.
Oh, yes. There's nothing funnier than watching a man commit political suicide.
You think so?
Today, you have entered into an opportunist alliance with the center and right-wing elements. You've surrendered your political credibility.
I doubt it. In any case, you left me little option in the matter. You forced me to beat you.
You've won a battle, comrade. The war has only just begun.
Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. That is Fall of Eagles. Masterpiece Theater. BBC. Top of their game. Can't recommend this enough. Of course, this is Lenin initially getting defeated in his attempt to take over as the part, I don't know, the leader of the party, but basically restructure it into a dictatorial structure. This was his first attempt, and he failed. Thank you. It's my news coat. Gives me news powers. Fails. And then in the next episode, I believe, or later in this episode, he defeats Trotsky. Oh, yeah, right here. He defeats Trotsky and the rest. Show you here. So he's, so the more progressive elements, and the Jewish elements thought they had defeated Lenin, only for this to happen.
Yerza Sulich was right. Axelrod was right. Potresov was right. You think you're Robespierre. That's what they think.
So he just said he thinks you're Robespierre, right? Maximilian Robespierre, right?
By God, they're right.
And what's interesting to me about Lenin, what I'm discovering from this series, is that he's 100% correct when it comes to knowing what the formula is to turn a movement, an ideology, a political idea into a revolution. But his view of humanity, human beings, is so nihilistic, is so cynical. It's classic. It's like it's very Russian from what I've observed from Russian culture. This cold, stoic, nihilistic, you're only valuable in terms of how much you can contribute. Two of them. We got two of them. Amazing stuff. Just
now the vote itself.
One more minute. Just 2 more minutes.
Those against the Jewish Bund being allowed to remain in the party.
Neoliberals.
41. Overwhelming majority in favor of expulsion.
Expulsion! Withdraw! You should withdraw! There is no question of staying, comrades. The insult and humiliation you have dealt us will live with us many a day. Like you, we dream of and work for the socialist revolution.
So I think what just happened is that they pretended to take a quorum and intentionally ignored the elements that they didn't like. I think that's what just happened. I think.
God, they're right.
Now the vote itself. Those against the Jewish Bund being allowed to remain in the party.
So those against the Jewish Bund being allowed into the party. So he raises his hand. They're all raising their hand.
41. Overwhelming majority in favor of
Expulsion! Withdraw! You should withdraw! There is no question of staying, comrades. The insult and humiliation you have dealt us will live with us many a day. Like you, we dream of and work for the socialist revolution. All we ask is that we be allowed to do it in our own language with our own people. You deny us this basic right because of some Napoleon who craves Well, we will continue to work for the revolution. With or without the aid of the party we helped to form.
So this creates that schism that is later cleaned up when Stalin takes over, right? All these motherfuckers start disappearing, including Lenin himself, right? He got on the wrong side of Stalin. Something I haven't gotten that far yet. I'm trying. I want to know how this shit really happened.
Cause group wish to demonstrate their solidarity with the Bund against the
dictatorial tendencies that are emerging within the party of religion. We hereby withdraw from the Congress.
But you see, so Lenin's whole argument and the whole reason why he was able to win over is that he was like, look, do you want this or not? The only way, in his opinion, to get this was to have this really strict, tight hierarchy. And he was right for a little while, he was right for a little bit. But ultimately, you don't create something sustainable, Maybe you can't make a society from a bunch of whipped mules. So this has been I've been loving this. You guys got to
comrade, if history seeks an opportunist, it will not be in my direction that it looks.
If it does not label you an opportunist, it may well conclude you're a fool. I believe it may very well call you both.
Right. So, but this person was proven right by history. He wanted to go in a more humanist direction. He wanted more, he wanted more members, right? All he was saying is, we just want a few concessions about our culture. But the anti-Semitism, the anti-fucking Semitism was real, man.
Anti-Semitic remarks.
It wasn't just the German Nazis, man. Everybody was in that shit. They all were scared of the Jews. So I just can't recommend this show enough. Fall of Eagles. Make sure you check it out, folks. Masterpiece fucking theater for the win. I can't get over how good it is. I would like the night before, I was up until 3 o'clock. I just couldn't stop watching. I'm up to episode 7. Yeah, right here. So I just couldn't stop watching. Totally. It's my new totes obsession. All right, folks, welcome to the motherfucking News Underground. Hope you're ready for some motherfucking news. Hope you're fucking ready, because you know what? I got a fucking stopwatch here. We're getting down to this shit right fucking now. Gear up. Get to fucking clicking, man. We're going. We're starting with Ukraine. Then we're going to the fucking horror show of Gaza. Jumping over to world news, where there's a potential war happening with India and Pakistan. I got a whole new series of hell, but I also have a massive series of old hell. All the old hell I wasn't able to cover. It never fucking stops. Also some finance news. I haven't changed shit. Ice King, I honestly haven't changed shit. I literally haven't changed anything. It's so fucked. Obama. It's so fucked. All right, folks, here we go. I'm going to keep a stopwatch, okay? Keeping a stopwatch. 15 seconds to 30 seconds per story, okay? We're getting through all of this, okay? Not going to sit here and bloviate. Ukraine, let's get to it. All right, Blatt. Okay, this was a very important picture. I didn't have much faith in this, but this apparently was a good attempt. This was a smart attempt by Zelensky to try and convince Donald Trump. Okay, this is hard to do it fast, but no, it was very difficult. It was very difficult. For Zelensky to, get some FaceTime with Trump. But, it's all about that FaceTime. It really is when it comes to Donald Trump. It's interesting, though, what's happening. Okay, next story. Okay, 36 seconds. I can do better. It's really interesting what's happening, though. No delay. God, stupid. No, leave me alone. Stop. Don't do this. You're embarrassing me. Okay. But this is... the State Department said that the U.S. would no longer mediate in negotiations, but later denied this. So this is totally ridiculous. This is absolutely hilarious to me. Let's see if I can do this. I really just need to read the whole thing. The United States will no longer mediate peace talks between Ukraine and Russia. This was stated by the U.S. State Department spokesman Tammy Bruce at a briefing at May 1st. Subsequently, she denied the allegation. What? According to her, Secretary of State Marco Rubio has made it clear that the style and methodology of the U.S. contribution to the negotiation process will change, and she announced this on April 29th. The contribution will change in that we will not be intermediaries. We are certainly still committed to that and will help and do whatever we can, but we're not going to be flying around the world at the drop of a hat to mediate meetings. Okay, so are you, okay, hold on. That's when I should do it, is when I interrupt, stop reading. Boom. Okay, so you, wait, so what does that mean? Are you stopping the weapons? Are you, okay, you're not talking anymore? You're just not going to try? You're taking your fucking ball and going home? What the fuck does that mean? Okay, boom, 13 seconds, bitch. She emphasized that, she emphasized, empathize from the fucking Trump.
China?
No, okay, no. She emphasized that negotiations should now take place between the two sides, Ukraine and Russia. Yeah, no fucking shit, Sherlock. And now it's the time for them to develop the present concrete ideas and how to end the full-scale war. I mean, okay, yeah, wow, holy shit, guys. Wow, yeah, wow. I mean, what can you say? Yeah, no shit, you know? I mean, come on. Welcome to the show. You know what I mean? Well, you just showed the fuck up? You just woke up from your fucking nappy? Yeah, this is what the fuck's been happening. Oh, okay, well, we're just gonna, it's like some idiot walking in someone's conversation, trying to take it over, failing to do that. It's like, okay, I'm gonna let you guys talk. Good rap, good talk, guys. All right, I'm gonna go back over here. Good talk, man. Yeah. So, quote unquote, it'll be up to them, summarized a representative of the U.S. State Department. Okay, I cheated a little bit. That was definitely 30 seconds. But then this is the fucking comedy right here. This is the punchline. This just got started. This is the punchline. Updated. Bruce has clarified her statement. The United States continues to mediate in the talks, but will withdraw if there's no progress. So it's literally childish. It's literally like a toddler. No. Okay, I'm going home. I don't want to play. And then the kids start playing without him. And then the toddler's like, okay, I'll come. I want to play. So it's like, no, okay, we give up. You know, and like, I think the idea is that Trump thinks these big emotional, you know, kind of statements are going to shift, right? Someone's going to blink. Someone's going to flinch. I think that's the idea. It doesn't work. It's the logic of a child, okay? It's not how it works around here. So interesting stuff. So he has a face-to-face. He pulls a little Trumpian, you know, he pulls a little Trump, right? Squeaks out a little idea, has a concept of an idea, but then basically says, okay, well, we're basically back at square one where I'm going to continue to pour on the weapons and kind of let Ukraine steer this. Literally, I mean, Zelensky's doing everything in his power to give Trump the biggest fucking W any fucking U.S. president has had since World War fucking II, right? To be the U.S. president that dick stomps fucking Vladimir Putin? I mean, are you fucking kidding me? Biden didn't want it. He was too scared to take that. And for Trump, it could be handed to him reluctantly. I don't know. I don't want it. I like the memory of Russia. Fucking bitch. Okay, next one. Let's keep her moving. I can't show you this video, actually. This is from your boy, Davey. Thank you. Big props to Davey. I wouldn't have found this without you. He's still on this fucking toxic platform, Twitter. Oh, my God. I got the white fucking things happening. I got it. Okay. I'm dehydrated. That's what happens when you're dehydrated. I have energy drinks, and I don't have them next to me either. Holy fuck. We got to fix that. So I can't show you this video. But I'm going to give you the link. You can watch it in your own private time. Now, it's not bloody or gory, but someone does technically get shot. So I will read it here. Video of today's assassination attempt on Sergei Sternenko, one of Ukraine's major crowdfunding organizers for military FPV drones. A woman hired by the Russian military intelligence shot him, but failed to hit any vital organs. Fucking flesh wound, dog. She was then tackled by the SBU agent. So I can't show you. It's crazy, though. You know, like, you've seen the movies, right? You've seen the movies like the fucking Charlize Theron, you know. Okay, I get 30 seconds of this. All right, you've seen the movies, right? How we're, like big time. I'm going to use a sniper that the jackal, right? I'm going to turn my fucking, my pretend metal leg into a fucking sniper rifle. I'm going to hit you from 100 yards. So this is how it happens in real life. You stand there next to the door like a fucking dope and just open up when the motherfucker walks next to you, dude. When the bodyguard walks by and the dude's right there. So that's how it actually goes down. So she's right there. She's right fucking there. She's right fucking there, just standing there like a dope, dude. And then boom. Okay, she's got, like, is she even concealing the weapon? Is she just holding it? I can't even tell from the video, but that's how it actually happens. Boom, 42 seconds, bitch. Let's keep the motherfucking moving. Okay, if you want to watch it one more time, here's the link. Here's the link. You want to see it yourself. I can't show it to you. Jeff Bezos says no. Sorry. Boo. Don't like it, email Jeff. Let him know. I want to see murder and death and shootings on Twitch. I honestly believe that's what fucking politics, there should be rules. Like, if you're going to call yourself politics, you should have the ability to show news respectively, right? You shouldn't be like, oh, yo, this motherfucker got blasted. Oh, this shit's amazing. And sometimes I do that when I see Russians getting their ass kicked, right? So I would be okay with a modicum of rules where it's not completely egregious. But it's also an opportunity for, advertisers to be like, yeah, no, the guy who's showing Holocaust footage, no, I don't know if my energy drink is gonna, not exactly the audience vibe I'm looking for. Kind of more Fortnite. Was hoping more Fortnite, not exactly Holocaust. I don't know. Neoliberal. Oh! I just say it now. Garbage Fuel. They'd force me into a fucking sponsorship. They would say, look, you're only allowed if you're, make sure, the only time you show the Garbage Fuel logo is when you're showing concentration camp footage. That, they're coke addicts in fucking, I don't know, I think Brazil. They call me at 4 a.m. They don't leave me alone. They don't send me money. Okay, but, it's a lucrative sponsorship. Okay, Trump envoy meets Putin hours after Moscow killing of Russian general. So the goddamn fun continues. I don't know if I showed you this. This was in the Discord, though. Once again, another dude got completely fucking... this guy got cremated, dude. And there's footage out there if you want to search for it. These are body bags right here, and this is they covered up. It's nasty. It was nasty. They got that motherfucker. Donald Trump's envoy, Steve Witkoff, has met Vladimir Putin in the Kremlin for high-stakes peace talks hours after a senior Russian military official was killed in a car explosion near Moscow. So this was, I think, was Trump there in Russia? Trump, hours after a senior Russian military was killed in the car. Yeah. So no, he showed up hours after this happened. Trump, which I don't know, is that a big deal? I guess, it's, whatever. They're not... Does an assassin doesn't give a shit if Trump is showing up in a couple hours, right? He's looking for the opportunity. He's looking for the opening. We cover the German AfD is now without a doubt right-wing extremist party. Blue Brother, I didn't have any plans to do so, but I totally agree. Is there some new evidence? Did they put out a new poster where they're doing an Elon salute? Right, where a woman and a man are doing an Elon salute over some happy kids over a couch. Did they put out another image like that? Greetings, south of Boston. It's your motherfucking boy, Lenny. Lenny, it's good to see you. Okay, we got to keep going, man. Come on, man. Trump has played up Witkoff's visit, his fourth to Russia in recent months, claiming a deal on ending the war in Ukraine was within reach. Oh, man. The next few days are going to be very important. So this was a few days before the tantrum, and this is, I think, a few days before the Pope's funeral. Welcome back, everybody, by the way. A ray of frickin' sunshine, you know it. Welcome back, everybody, by the way. Everybody that's here. Tisreal, Ice King, I see you. Female Eunuchs, thank you so much. Bound. Big props to everybody, all you regulators in the chat for coming back. It's the chat that makes the stream interesting, right? It's really not me. As for the recent months claiming the deal ending where it was within reach, the next few days are going to be very important. Meetings are going to take place. This is all old news, right? So it's interesting to read this in hindsight. Trump told reporters on Thursday, I think we're going to make a deal. I think we're getting very close. And the sound of circus music was heard, drifting, wafting in the breeze. Okay, we're done with this one. Let's keep her fucking moving. This is kind of old news, right? Some of this stuff is old news the last 2 weeks. So we got to talk about this dinky dumpling. What the fuck? This motherfucking dumbass of the motherfucking month. And look, I don't mean to dance on this guy's grave, but no, dude, I mean, check every goddamn dumbass box, okay? Guy wasn't raised right. And he probably had undiagnosed mental issues. Son of senior CIA official died fighting for Russian forces in Ukraine. A young American who called himself an anti-fascist and criticized the U.S. military-industrial complex died fighting for Russia and Ukraine. I mean, come on. Talk about being right for all the wrong fucking reasons, man. Oh, I hate U.S. imperialism, and I hate the U.S. military-industrial complex. I'm right there with you. I'm going to join Russia. I mean, maybe because you wanted to kill Americans, or maybe you thought you're going to get close to killing Americans by doing this. I don't think that was the calculus, though. I think he legitimately thinks people are more free in Russia. Oh boy. Michael Gloss, 21-year-old son of a CIA deputy director and this is her right here, by the way, son of CIA deputy director was killed in April 2024 while fighting in Russia, for Russia in Ukraine, while signing a contract with the Russian Defense Ministry, Russian investigative outlet Important Stories. After signing a contract with the Russian Defense Ministry investigative outlet, Important Stories. What the fuck is that? Investigative outlet? Huh? So he was carrying a gun, wasn't he? Yeah, he's a traitor. Yeah. No, but I have no problem with, it's funny. I'm literally moving to Canada. One of the main reasons is my massive disagreement with the military-industrial complex. This is all well before Trump, guys, right? All this stuff was happening way before Trump. But then, the Trump stuff really hasn't changed my mind too much. Traitor. Okay, I'm bloviating. Got to hit the button. All right, that's like 10 seconds of bloviating. Before joining Russian forces, Gloss has been traveling the world after leaving the college. Of the Atlantic in Maine. Okay, that's English for you folks. Where he studied human ecology. His friends described him, by the way, Woke Patriot, welcome back. I forgot to say welcome back, Woke Patriot. Where we studied human ecology. His friends described him as an environmental activist and anti-fascist who had expressed anger towards the United States. So, I mean, oh man, I remember this age. Some folks in the chat might remember this age as well. I need to turn this down. Some folks might remember this age, I remember this. I remember being that guy. I mean, clearly not exactly, right? But I remember this kind of, like seeing the crimes of the American empire and feeling trapped within this empire, incapable of making any kind of substantive changes and really doing anything. It makes you want to lash out. He was very angry at America. He started thinking about going to Russia. He wanted to fight against the USA. One acquaintance told the publication. So he did just enough reading. He probably did a lot of the fucking tanky, he probably absorbed a lot of tanky propaganda and then just stopped. That's just like, okay, I'm done. All right, done reading. We're not gonna get into any of that, anything else. I mean, this is like right around the time that Russia was, flagrantly, blatantly invading Ukraine in the Donbass, and possibly had already occupied Crimea. Not quite sure when. If there's a date on these photos, doesn't look to be. Bloviating. Okay, that's at least 30 seconds worth, buddy. The young American arrived in Russia in August 2023, posting a selfie from Vladikazakaz with a message, "Guys, I'm in Russia. How did I get here?" Woo! He visited several Russian cities before his visa was set to expire on the 5th of September 2023. Russian border, blah, 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 blah. Russian soldiers served at class said he was a staunch supporter of Russia and loved it. Wow. Wow. I mean, look, you get, death is on the menu when you do this, when you sign up for something like this, death is on the menu. Other friends claim Gloss joined the Russian army to obtain Russian citizenship more quickly. Quote, my goal in life is to build infrastructure for oxidizing water in a supercritical state. Oh, this guy's such an idiot. To end environmental pollution and related diseases and deaths. Gloss had reportedly told one friend explaining that Russian citizenship would help him achieve this goal. No, this classic poser, classic, I want people to think I'm smart, but I'm not going to put in the work. Really, look, when you're young, this is the kind of stuff you kind of have to go through, right? You'd be like, okay, I'm trying to discover my identity. I want to go in this direction. But man, look, if you're not doing the reading on basic history, you're not going to be able to do the academic work necessary to start oxidizing water in a supercritical state. Like, is that even a thing? You know what I mean? It's not even a thing. It reminds me of when I was in like fourth grade and I told everybody I wanted to be a nuclear physiologist, and it's like, that's not a fucking thing, but I was a kid and I just wanted to, I thought I wanted people to think I was smart because I was a child. Now it's just like, I'm dumb. Help me, please. Please, God. Please help me. I'm that lady in that ad that's, help me and I can't get up. I'm really that pathetic over here. For the love of God, save me. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. You can't make me do it. I'm not going to listen to Ben Shapiro's opinions on Ukraine. Oh, well, he says nice things. He disagrees. Oh, okay. Yeah. Hi, I'm Bean Shapiro. Okay, I'm bloviating. Hi, I'm Bean Shapiro. Fucking kill as many Palestinians as you can fucking muster. Go crazy. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, now I give a shit about the Ukrainian people. Okay, let's listen. Let's fucking listen to it. I can't believe the shit you make me do. People putting this shit in my Discord, I'm going to fucking puke. Okay, I get one comment about the fucking eyebrows. What the fuck is going on? What happened? What happened? Did you lose a fight with a Sharpie? What the fuck, dude? You drink a fucking elixir? What the fuck is going on with the eyebrows, man? What the fuck is going on, dude? Have you never shaved your eyebrows in a million fucking years? That's all I'm going to say. Okay, video.
Some of my big takeaways from the interview with President Zelensky. Did I get all of my questions answered in the way that I wanted? I mean, I can't say that all the questions were answered to my full satisfaction. I don't know where every dollar is going in Ukraine. I don't know that all my questions were answered with regard to, say, electoral problems in Ukraine or corruption problems in.
So isn't that great? He's basically, I basically still agree with most of the lies, the half truths and lies. I still agree with all that stuff. But hey, guys.
Ukraine. When it comes to the United States and our allies, one of the sort of great failures of American foreign policy over the course of the last 80 years since the end of World War II is this bizarre idea in the United States that if our allies are imperfect, somehow it makes sense to abandon them. This is what we did in Vietnam.
Brother.
Our allies were imperfect, so we abandoned them, and then the Viet Cong took over. The same thing happened in Afghanistan. Our allies.
Okay, wait a minute. You talking about he got rid of his unibrow? Show me the device, okay? Show me the weed whacker motherfucking what kind of motherfucking, adamantium steel, kind of, okay, you get the point. I got 2 seconds left.
We're seriously imperfect. And when I say imperfect, I mean there are a lot of terrible people involved
super hot.
in the Northern Alliance and then in the government in Afghanistan.
Pretty face, ugly soul. That's Abby Shapiro or whatever the hell her name is.
Afghanistan, tremendous corruption. And also, it turns out that the people on the other side were significantly worse. And so in determining what's happening in Russia, Ukraine, and what should happen next, the question is less whether Ukraine is perfect.
Dude, don't tell me this teetotaling Nancy boy over here is doing hard labor and that's why he's got his fucking eyebrows that way. I will accept that. That is an interesting concept. I do get sweat in my eyes all the time, and I have beautifully shaved eyebrows. I only shave my unibrow. That's literally the only thing I do. Sometimes my barber will just do it for me for some reason. They'll just start doing it. So I'm like, okay, you can do whatever you want. I don't really care. But come on with these. Okay, come on with these. Okay, 1 minute bloviation.
It certainly is not. And the question is much more, what exactly does Russia want? What is in America's interest? And I can tell you this. What is not in America's interest is a growing, more powerful Russia. Because in determining how to negotiate an end to the Russia-Ukraine war that originally broke out in 2014 with the Russian takeover of Donbass and Crimea, and then was reignited by the full-scale Russian invasion of 2022, it's not enough to try to figure out what the quote-unquote rational middle ground looks like. That feels like what the Trump administration is trying to do.
I mean, right wingers are so selective about the realities we can accept, right? The one, okay, this reality is happening, this reality is not happening. Oh, it's this, it's that. They play games with it.
Find a solution. Well, I mean, you can find a solution, but unless you have a way to actually implement the solution, any solution that you propose is meaningless. No matter how hard you try, you cannot impose this solution from the outside in the way that the United States would if, for example, we had boots on the ground. And we don't want to have boots on the ground. And that means somehow you have to get the Russians to the table. Both sides need to be at the table. The Ukrainians are at the table. The Russians are not at the table. Now, we are not the dominant force in the region, nor do we want to be. However, the Ukrainians being...
Okay, I get it. He's just, like I said, he's very selective in the fucking objective reality he actually accepts. I wanted to end Ukrainian coverage by showing this amazing video. You've never seen anything like this. Welcome back, Davey. I promised to do the Davey correction. I have no time to do the Davey correction today. I will do the Davey correction though. Just so everybody knows, Davey was technically correct when he was correcting me earlier, if you remember that drama. But of course, the whole reason why I was denying that he was correct is the insinuation. But we'll get into it. Just so you know, Davey was technically correct. So congratulations, Davey. That's their favorite kind of correct. Davey's a conservative, being technically correct. And you banned me. No, what did I time you out? Oh, cry some more. Cry some fucking more. Cry some more. Okay, let's get back to Ukraine. Bloviation over. A masterpiece. Ukrainian UAV operators freed 3 Ukrainian soldiers from captivity using drones. This is a motherfucking modern warfare mission come to life. Okay, it does not get more video game than this. I dare you to find another example. This drone, is looking at 3 Ukrainian POWs, 3 Ukrainians taken prisoner by these Russians. They're getting escorted through the woods. The drone operator drops grenades and saves these dudes. It's unbelievable. It's literally unbelievable. There's other great examples. Okay, there's the other best example is that the Terminator, the guy going completely ballistic in the, and if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. The guy who had he had his buddy in there reloading weapons and handing him rocket launchers and fucking just unloading and just popping back out and complete professional, ice cold. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway. The shit's real. It's every day this shit's happening, right? I wish I could cover this every single day. And look, it's still hot. It's the hottest battlefield. And it's the hottest front line on planet Earth, except for Gaza. But it's not. It's kind of one direction there, mostly. Anyway, this is something else. Let's get to that.
Explosions reported overnight in occupied Crimea.
By the way, Warthog Defense, upgrade your AI shit, bro. Come on. You're still with this? Still with this 60 cent a minute AI? Come on, man. Bump this shit up. Change it at least. Make it a woman's voice. Something, man. It's the same dude. Maybe it's like, it's my brand now. I'm stuck with this voice. I don't know, man. It's an AI voice. Do whatever you want with it. Anyway, bloviation over.
Crimea's Chornomorsky district, with Russian sources claiming a strike near Vnukovo village. Damage inflicted is yet to be determined. A masterpiece.
I have a brand.
Destroying Russians that wanted to take Ukrainians prisoners of war. Operators from the 1st Tank Brigade freed 3 Ukrainian soldiers from captivity using drones. First, they separated the prisoners from the Russian with airdrops. Wow. Then moved them to safe positions.
That's so risky. That's so fucking crazy risky, right? Because you're putting your own dudes in, and like, what's stopping these Russians from just unloading on these POWs, right? So, I mean, the whole thing is super risky, but I guess it was like they would rather take that risk, and the drone operator knew it, that these guys, these must have been some stone colds, right? that these guys would rather take this risk than and take the opportunity to escape this, right, or die trying, right, get swept by the Russians trying to do this, right? It's insane.
The Russians were destroyed. The operation was nothing short of surgical. It began with precise reconnaissance. High-resolution aerial drones monitored the area for hours, building a complete picture of Russian positions, movement routes, and potential ambush zones. The captives were spotted, bound but alive, surrounded by enemy infantry who had no idea they were being watched. Then came Phase 2, deception and disruption. Using small, silent, multi-rotor drones, the Ukrainian operators airdropped smoke charges and distraction devices.
I'm not trying to give credit to the Russian military, but they do capture enough soldiers to facilitate prisoner swaps. So they're not killing literally everybody, but almost everybody gets tortured and starved, right? Everyone gets to feel everyone gets to get tortured in their own way. And of course, I didn't have the article up, but there was that woman, I believe a journalist, who was disappeared, and her body was recovered, and brain was gone, all kinds of pieces missing, right? Cutting out the pieces that would indicate torture. So she got the full fucking roulette. Really disgusting things happening in those Russian gulags, no doubt about it.
Sowing panic in the Russian ranks.
1 minute.
While the enemy scrambled to react, operators directed the captives with hand signal codes and laser pointers visible only through thermal optics.
Davey.
It was a high risk.
That's a nightmare. Those drone videos give me nightmares. You know what I mean? Those drone videos give me PTSD, because those drone operators, these guys are caught dead in the field, no cover. And it's like a mile in one direction and a mile in another direction, right? And you're not Usain Bolt, and you got 100 pounds of gear, and it's just a total nightmare. Those drone operators are in complete control of that situation. Man, those are nasty.
Gamble, one misstep, and it could have cost lives. But the timing was flawless. As the Russians attempted to reposition, the real strike began. From a hidden forward position, FPV kamikaze drones launched one after another. These aren't off-the-shelf toys. Modified for speed and explosive payloads, these drones are flown manually by highly trained pilots who view the battlefield in real time through goggles. With a direct video feed, they guide their drones into enemy vehicles, trenches, and even individual soldiers with pinpoint accuracy. Each Russian firing position was systematically eliminated. Light vehicles were torn apart by shaped charges. Infantry trying to flee were tracked and neutralized. The battlefield became a test site for precision drone warfare. Behind this operation was the elite drone detachment of the 1st Tank Brigade, a unit that's adapted far beyond its traditional armored warfare role. Since the full-scale invasion, they've built up internal UAV teams capable of both reconnaissance and strike operations. These aren't just drone pilots. They're forward observers, electronic warfare specialists, and...
It's interesting to see the evolution of this, right? Because a lot of the stuff we've been seeing, and we still see it, it's modified consumer drones, and, the UI kind of reflects that. But, of course, we're seeing this one specifically military built, and the UI is starting to reflect that.
Engineers and combat-tested infantry, all operating as one unit. What makes Ukrainian FPV tactics so effective isn't just the technology, it's the doctrine. Okay,
yada, yada, yada. We're getting into the glazing territory, but you get the point. Amazing stuff. And there's more footage on our combat footage if you want to really get into it. You see some pretty nasty stuff, but you'll also see human beings doing some of the most heroic things, imaginable. You really do. Like the Ukrainian military, nobody does it better. I'm convinced. The amount of professionalism that they show even now, with their back against the wall, with this Trump madness, it's and then the escalation of violence and brutality that Russia, puts on Ukraine. I miss the Bayraktar drone videos. Me too. Okay. I got to warn you folks. There's a video in here. What the hell is this? Why is this here? Who's this piece of shit? Okay. I gotta warn you folks. I got some really hard stuff to show you here. I gotta update my my thing here, so let me do that real quick. But these are not easy things to look at. So if you need to not watch the Gaza section, that's perfectly fine. No blood, no gore, but there's a video that doesn't have blood and gore that will I'll never forget it. Real quick before we bandit nihilism. Ukraine is technically winning. No, it's technically a stalemate. I'm not going to say no side, because no side is technically winning. No side is technically losing. I'm going to say technically it's a stalemate. Like, I feel like this would be like textbook. Folks, before we hop into the horror of Gaza, I'd like to remind you that the BLOP is your resource to contribute towards political change, towards, fixing these problems, right? This isn't just a doom scroll, though, I certainly fit into that niche quite well. But no, this is about, we want to change things. We are informing ourselves with step one so that we can better, help these movements, so that we can better help our future, help our children. I'm bloviating. Gotta hit the button and get close to bloviating. But folks, you need to follow the 3-step program to create political change. Step 1, we inform ourselves. Step 2, we show up, sign up. And step 3, we put in the work. And we turn this into a lifestyle. That's the only way to really do this. It's political activism. If we don't embrace it, we will fucking lose. Okay? I'm not lying. I'm not lying. Does it feel like we're winning? Does it feel like sanity is winning? Common sense is winning? Morality is winning? Does it feel like morality is winning? Right? Maybe if you're a sadistic pedophile, your morality is winning. But for the rest of us, actual normal people, the deviants are winning. The fascists are winning. The authoritarians, the tyrants, the perverts, they're real. My God, they're real. Ukraine's holding ground, right? Okay, yeah. You guys still talking about it? That's fine. So we're going to get into a little bit of what's happening just with Israel, kind of domestically. There's some fires happening. I wouldn't be surprised if this is Hamas, or if this, it seems like it could be either way. Is Israel going to invest millions of dollars in making sure that their forests are, upkept? Because I think that you can cycle through. There's things you can do to kind of prevent massive, like there's all this discussion about what could have been done in the Hollywood Hills, but I'm not sure. I don't know. I have no information whatsoever if this is Hamas or if this is just totally natural. It's being reported as if it's totally natural. No one really seems to have any evidence that this is Hamas, but at the same time, if I was Hamas, I'd be doing literally everything I can to inflict damage. Not because that's what I believe, but that's because that's what Hamas believes. They believe in being counterproductive until the very fucking end. Help BB out until we're annihilated. I don't know. Is that what they chant? We love BB Netanyahu over there in Hamas land. We love being useful idiots for BB. Yeah, no problem, Blue Brother. So we're going to get into that a little bit. Also, the attacks, the full-blown fucking attacks on Syria. Going to watch some of that. And then we're going to talk about the Freedom Flotilla, including several clips, including one from my hero, Greta Thunberg. And then, of course, there is this footage right here that will shock you. That will absolutely shock you, of a girl alive being removed from the rubble. And her only concern is a gift that was given to her by her father. I might cry. Just a heads up. So just a heads up. I could only watch about 5 seconds of it, right? But I saw that there wasn't any blood or gore, so I'm like, I can actually show this one. So I will. And if I get banned, then so be it. Judean foothills, Israel, 30th of April, 2025. So that is just a few days ago. Forest fire spread through dry brush areas. So like I said, I think this is just a lack of upkeep, really. I don't have enough snacks. I don't have enough things to snack on. Pretty scary stuff. Did you see the video of the Palestinian kid's legs? Yeah, maybe that's the one I think of, the one where the man's holding the legs. It's like a half torso, right? The other half gone. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever forget that one. There's several videos that I've seen that I don't think I'll ever forget, and they just keep coming. It really is a horror factory that Israel has created.
هاي السيارات هاي بلش يولعوا السيارات كمان بلش يولعوا السيارات كمان الله أكبر
Wow, so this is just traffic stopping. People, just the whole thing being too overwhelming, the smoke getting in there, Cars, even when you turn off all those features, right? They're not perfectly sealed. Things can get in. Yeah, pun pa, yeah. Yeah, so that's pretty frightening stuff. People just running for their lives on the highway. Just abandoning their car just to get away from the smoke. Pretty scary stuff. Welcome back, Zio Duke, and welcome back everybody else. If I missed you, so sorry. It is good to see everybody. Thank you for those views. It is very valuable. So here's another absolutely crazy video. I mean, there's really, I need to avoid saying that word, man. It is like the #1 word that hack political commentators use, but it's like sometimes it's the best fucking word when the world is so crazy, right? But no, this is pretty wild. Raging wildfires near Jerusalem have disrupted Israel's Memorial Day, forcing thousands to evacuate and shutting down major highways. The intense blazes, fueled by strong winds, have promoted a massive response from IDF forces and international firefighting teams rushing to contain the flames. Okay. I don't know why. No audio. Sorry about that. We're just going to restart. But as you can see here, these are IDF soldiers try to escape. I mean, what are you doing, jackass? He's got his phone in his hand. Man, this guy's a jackass, yo. He wasn't trying to escape. He was trying to get fucking TikTok video. You know why? Because the guy behind him was getting TikTok video. Look at it. Look at him. Look at what's happening here. This guy's not escaping. Shut the hell up with this. But it's a raging absolute. It's like a fucking furnace in there. It's like an absolute furnace. But bro, Kim Goblin and I have talked about this, how like young people have like director brain, like they're the director of their own movie. And it's like, I mean, that's once in a lifetime. Get some footage. But homie, look, you're not prepared. You don't know what the hell you're doing. You're 90 pounds wet and wearing boots. You get pulled out by the fucking wind. Jesus, what an embarrassment. But also, can we talk about how dishonest this is? IDF soldiers try to escape. That's just a lie, dude. That's just a fucking lie. More like IDF jackasses try to get some fucking, do some shit for the gram. Fucking director brains over here. Anyway, moving on. Israeli warplanes launched at least 12 airstrikes across Syria. And folks, these are like major spots. This is a massive escalation. Are we really going to back Israel up on this shit? Right-wingers aren't down for this. Trumpers, maggots, they're not down for this shit, right? The new term is content brain. Content brain. Oh, okay. Oh my God, my alarm. The strikes targeted the capital Damascus, Hama, Latakia, Quintyra, the Dara Early. Israel jets struck an area near the presidential palace and what Netanyahu called a clear message to the Syrian regime. I'm so big, I'm so tough. I'm so tough, I'm going to kill a bunch of people, unarmed children. I'm going to kill a bunch of them. Then I'm going to go after a bunch of other countries. U.S. has my back the whole way. I think you know, I kind of wish Israel would just do this because Trump doesn't have the stomach for this. You know what I mean? He just doesn't. He's a bastard, dude. He doesn't have any real allegiances, even to this Israel stuff. Eventually, you know, even with all the people that have given him all the money, he doesn't fucking care. Ultimately, he doesn't fucking care. So if this becomes a massive like thing that he has to deal with and he doesn't want to, he could totally leave Israel high and dry because Israel's going to be asking for hundreds of billions of dollars and like full blown. You know, give us everything. Oh, they're fighting back. They're having victories on the battlefield. You know, I don't know though. I don't know how. I mean, like Syria is like victories on the battlefield. Are you serious? Like they just, they barely got their shit together. That's what they're trying to hold on to. So this might be the perfect time for Israel to kind of take this, right? Because that's what the new Syrian government needs right now is time. And that's what Netanyahu is trying to deny. That's the number one thing that they need, because with time they can create stability, and then with stability they can create legitimacy, and that creates a whole new headache and potentially a whole new, pole of resistance against Israel and Netanyahu's plans for domination, right? So now's the time to strike. So here we go. Yay! Tax dollars going where they need to, right? Healthcare, education, get the fuck out of here, fucking communist. That money's got to go directly to a fucking missile that gets shot into a mosque in some country. I can't even pronounce this shit. Quintyria? Sounds like Harry Potter. You don't care. Lap it up. Lap it up, you fucking suckers. Lap it up. Is that enough bloviation? Details of the Israeli attack on the Freedom Flotilla ship late on Thursday night. A boat carrying humanitarian supplies and aid workers was anchored off the coast of Malta when it was reportedly struck twice by a suspected Israeli drone. So it doesn't matter where you are. If you're in range, sovereignty, other countries, sovereignty, airspace, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? We're Israel. What are you going to do if you even criticize us? You hate all Jewish people. Oh, I got you. Part of an international humanitarian organization called the Freedom Flotilla Coalition. So they've done this several times. This was in the news several years ago, if I remember correctly. The boat aimed to carry aid to Gaza as Israel's total blockade of the Strip reaches 2 months, causing widespread malnutrition. And folks, I'm going to show you some of this footage. Once again, it's hard to watch. But after Israel's strike started a fire on the boat and nearly caused it to sink, the group was forced to abandon their mission. So why did Israel target an aid flotilla, and why are the group determined to bring humanitarian supplies? Why, really? What is this? News? Okay, yeah, all right. Reddit. Simple preference 887. Who the fuck is this? You're not Jake Tapper. Okay. It's a stupid journalist questions. I hate them. I just hate them, but they're necessary sometimes. But are we still asking why? You know what I mean? We're still there. We're like fucking, Nazi Germany taking over Poland. We're like, what is the real definition of fascism? And maybe Poland wanted to be part of Germany. And why would some Polish people have a problem with Germany coming in and taking over? I have no idea. It's crazy. Why? Huh? Still asking why, huh? We're still there.
Why did Israel?
If we're still asking why, we're not talking about, what to do about it, right?
Why did Israel bomb an aid ship off the coast of Malta. On Thursday night, an Israeli drone
Man, they
struck
fucked
a
the
ship
ship up,
carrying
dude.
humanitarian aid to Gaza, igniting a fire and blowing a hole in the
Right.
boat.
So, and because this gets no coverage, and Donald Trump doesn't say anything about it. Did he even bother telling his cabinet or State Department or whatever to even poo-poo it? Oh, please don't do that again. That looks really bad. Does he even bother? No. So it's probably total silence. The only media is independent media, Middle Eastern, Al Jazeera media talking about it. Democracy Now! And jackasses like me talking about it, right? So they've completely gotten away with it, and we can expect this to continue. If they send another flotilla, it's a guarantee that it's going to be attacked by drones.
That nearly caused it to sink. The boat was part of the Freedom Flotilla Coalition, a global humanitarian group opposing Israel's years-long blockade of Gaza. Its passengers, including 30 activists and aid workers representing a coalition of 21 countries, were left without power or communications after the attack and were forced to send an SOS distress signal.
Guys, this is an emergency. We need everyone to contact the Malta government right now. At 12:30 a.m., our ship, the Freedom Flotilla, was attacked by 2 drones. Please, everybody, put pressure on the Malta government to save.
Wow, can we get more supermodels on flotillas? I mean, it can't hurt. I'm just saying, can we get more fucking like immaculately beautiful women on ships heading over to Gaza? Has anyone tried that?
Save the crew. There's about 30 souls that had to abandon ship. The ship is on fire. It's taking water. Please, everybody, all hands on deck.
Cody,
We're
that's
talking
awesome.
about an attack with drones in international waters in Europe.
Oh my God, and she has a sexy accent too. Okay, she's like, wow. Okay, can we keep this going? We got to keep this going, man.
We need you to help us. We need you to contact the Maltese government and your authorities or any country, anything you can do. Just please raise your voices because we need to save our crew.
The ship was then rescued off the coast of Malta and all those on board survived. But they were shocked, with one saying, "We didn't even think this would happen. It's the craziest thing in the world."
What the fuck you talking about, Zad Rock Cot? You mad, bro? Do you have anything other to say than fucking repeated slogans from fucking 5 years ago? That's an old-ass meme, dog.
Would send drones to bomb a ship anchoring off Malta. But it's not the first time Israel has bombed an aid ship trying to help Palestinians under blockade. In 2010, the Gaza Freedom Flotilla, a small fleet of aid vessels from countries around the world, planned to sail to Gaza to break Israel's blockade of the Strip. Instead, Israeli forces raided and attacked the fleet using helicopters, killing 9 activists and causing global outcry.
Really?
Now, this aid is more crucial than ever, as Gaza faces a severe humanitarian crisis due to Israel's 2-month-long blockade of all aid into the Strip. The ongoing siege has plunged 91% of Gaza's population into a food crisis, with the number of children receiving treatment for acute malnutrition rising by 80% in the past month. Last week, the UN said its food stocks in Gaza had run out, warning the siege could kill more children than airstrikes, as 23 have died from malnutrition and dehydration in recent weeks. At the same time, Israel's destruction of Gaza's water systems and removal of fuel and electricity has cut off 90% of the population from clean drinking water, forcing them to drink seawater instead. As Gaza nears famine yet again, the UN is urging Israel to end cruel and collective punishment.
We are breaking the bodies and the minds of the children of Gaza. We are starving the children of Gaza.
But Israel is not listening. Israel has refused to comment on the recent attack, even while they are on trial.
I literally
at the
don't have
International
time.
Court of Justice.
Normally, I'd spend a little time taking a big fat dump on you and embarrassing you and, making you into an example of the horrible fucking situation that we're in and et cetera, et cetera. But I literally don't have time for those assholes like you, so I'm just going to flush and keep moving.
Over their blockade of Gaza and attempts to ban UNRWA, the main UN agency for Palestinian refugees. Instead, just like Israel's execution of 15 paramedics in March, the attack suggests that
Cody,
Israel is willing to strike
there's
anyone,
there's no shame,
medics, or aid
there's no
vessels trying
bottom.
to support the survival of Palestinians in Gaza.
There's some real heroes out there, some real young heroes that we're going to see in some of this footage here. Some steel-balled MFers out there, doing the journalism that CNN, MSNBC, and ABC and CBS fucking refuse to do. The BBC over here, barely once in a while peeking their head out. That's about it. So, saw this clip here. I thought that was good. Jeanette Escanilla, chair of Ship to Gaza, after the brutal attack by the Israeli occupation on the boat, we will not back down. We will continue. The Freedom Flotilla Coalition and Ship to Gaza, Sweden are more determined than ever. So they're going to send another one, and the drones will be in the air. The drones will fucking be in the air. So I hope they're equipping that ship with anti-drone countermeasures. Don't be a sucker. Don't be like, love will protect us, like a fucking Care Bears episode. Put some netting up there at the least, man. Put a little money into some defense. Someone's going to get killed, okay? You know, at least have good protocol. Like, if you see a drone, like, lock it down, right? You know, but, man, they're going to... Why not go harder? They've received zero negative press and nothing negative about this, right? A few stories in the news, and then we're on to the next Trump story. You know what I mean? No, I won't be watching the fucking debug with Hasan again, Ethan. You want my take on it? Ethan's a fucking naive idiot who says really stupid things sometimes, and he did it again. Opened himself wide open for the fucking content goblins to feast for the next 7 months. Okay, so there's Hassan again being a useful idiot, right? And instead of doing the reading on some of the things that he's talking about, opens himself up to, you know, defend organizations that he shouldn't be doing in a serendipitous, kind of, you know what I mean, in a roundabout kind of way. Opens himself up, right? It's not very smart to be grifted on. And Ethan refuses, like any defender of this Zionist regime, refuses. You know, there's so many things he refuses to acknowledge that are reality. While he does acknowledge certain crimes of Israel, and you know that does put him. You know, he's no Ben Gvir, right? Ultimately, he does defend the foundational lie, which is that Israel is, you know, if Israel ceases fighting, if Israel ceases the violence, that they will immediately be attacked by all of their Arab neighbors, that, you know, that they're under existential threat at all times, and the only way to prevent that is to dominate the Middle East. That's the foundational lie that Ethan, of course, believes. So those are my takes. Two fucking pampered, uneducated millionaires talking about shit way out of their fucking depth, and that's coming from me over here, Joker over here, uneducated Joker over here, just trying to understand things. These motherfuckers are out of their depth. I feel confident saying that. I'm putting in the fucking work. They're not. They're spending their fucking money and hanging out and having a good old time. Good for you. I'm so happy for you. But are they sitting down and watching the documentaries and watching the footage, or are they flipping through social media for 5 minutes and farting out a fucking opinion? You tell me. Anyway, back to real fucking news. Here's Jeanette Ascanilla, the person running this flotilla operation, saying she's not going to back down. Well, what I have to say to her is don't be a fucking, pussy about this shit and armor that fucking... Do the best you can. I mean, I'm not saying you have to come out there like Batman, right? But if you got a couple $1,000 to throw into some fishing nets to throw over, you know, some key areas, you know, of your ship, maybe you should consider it. Oh, shut the hell up, Davey, with your fucking right-wing Asmongold fucking narrative. You think I give a flying fuck? You think Hassan Piker actually represents... You know what I mean? Like, that's what the right wing wants. They want useful idiots, like, you know, naive, useful idiots like Hassan Piker to be considered the leader of the left so that they can say, look, all the left is like him. But we bring this on. We bring this on to ourselves. No, Davey wasn't banned. Davey will never be banned. I timed his ass out because he was being incredibly racist. Anyway... He was technically correct about me saying a phrase. Everything else was wildly off, and I have the fucking receipts. We're going to go through the Discord. It's devastating. Davey doesn't want this. But I ultimately, Davey is the best, most honest conservative I've ever met in my life so far. I found one conservative willing to acknowledge reality. I found one, or I would say he found me, really. So I have a lot of respect for Davey, but goddamn, do I disagree so much. And then it's just it bothers me, Davey. It offends me to see this haphazard attempt to throw in the right wing narrative about the whole situation. Oh, Hassan Parker, he was called left. I get. I don't mean to insult you, Davey. I'm sorry, but the New York Times said that Hassan Parker was the left wing response to the MAGA Chad. They did say that, but the New York Times is a fucking industry rag that defended the Iraq war and is currently owned by a fucking right-wing oligarch. You know what I mean? Like the New York Times, like the left doesn't consider the New York Times the newspaper of record. Maybe Mika Brzezinski and Joe fucking Scarborough do, right? But your average lefty or person on the left doesn't really have a lot of respect for the New York Times. So when it says incredibly stupid shit like Hassan Parker's the next fucking, the response to the MAGA Chad, he kind of is though. But the problem is that the left isn't attracted to the kind of dunces that the right produces. But he kind of is like a MAGA Chad, where he's not very well read. He's kind of going off vibes. He's kind of going off feelings. Heart's in the right place. He does have a grasp on certain things. But the guy's a millionaire living comfortably. And when he's done with his fucking love fest on his stream, collecting thousands of dollars of donations every time he does it, he chills in the cut and goes spends his money and hangs out with like fucking gorgeous women and like it goes to parties with celebrities. And he's not watching documentaries and reading articles and going through and sitting in his study and poring over his what am I? Am I a democratic socialist? Am I a Marxist? Am I do I agree with Stalin? Do I disagree with Stalin? What about Mao? Where's he's not doing any of that shit. He's living his life like Johnny fucking Depp, and good for you, right? But we have to stop, looking to these people like he's the next Chris Hedges or something, right? Christopher Hitchens, I mean. I have problems with Chris Hedges now. Anyway, goddamn, can we get to the fucking clip? Jeanette Escanilla, head of the flotilla. I just realized that rhymes. Jeanette Escanilla from the flotilla talking about how she's not backing down. Good for her.
I natt på internationellt vatten har Israel attackerat vår båt Conscience. En båt som var fullt med solidaritet och vi människor
from... No, we got to go back to that footage really quick. Holy shit, look at the damage right there. Is that like the engine motor compartment right there? I mean, that's real ballistic, that's real military shit. That's a real military attack. I agree, borderline feline. Yeah. I have no respect for the Nobel Peace Prize, but if the Nobel Committee gave a shit about my opinion and wanted to restore that trust, handing that award to characters like Jeanette here would definitely start that process of healing, right? But honestly, the whole Nobel Committee, the politics of it, how corrupt it is, I have no respect for that accolade anymore. You know what I mean? I just have no respect for that, for the entire charade that is the Nobel Peace Prize.
Vi människor från hela världen befinner oss här i Malta och var på väg till båten för att åka till Gaza, för att bryta blockaden, för att bryta den inhumana blockaden och svält mot det palestinska folket. Återigen visar Israel att det finns inga gränser och attackerar vanliga människor som vill komma.
Okay, yeah, Meat Shield. Send him a clip of some loser in the politics section talking shit about him. Like, that's what he wants to hear. That's what he wants to hear. But look, he's not going to change. All I'm asking is to, stay in your lane. That's it. Be like, well, I'm not, I need to do a little bit more reading on this, and I'm trying to be a little bit more humble. That's all I'm asking. Because look, you open yourself up to be gobbled up on by these fucking right wing grifters, and they're very, very craven. They're looking for opportunities, and we shouldn't be giving it to them. And if we're not smart enough to not give them those opportunities when we get in front of a microphone, maybe we should, stay in our fucking lane, huh? Get back to the video games. Hassan? No, I mean, he should be out there, he should be next to Bernie Sanders and like saying Bernie Sanders shit, not trying to come up with his own ideas, okay? He should stay in his fucking lane, okay?
Till Gaza med humanitär hjälp och hjälpa palestinierna i Gaza. Vi fördömer denna attack, men vi ger inte upp. Människorna i Gaza ska veta att de är inte ensamma. Och vi tillsammans med Freedom Flotilla Coalition, Shift och Gaza Sverige kommer att göra allt för att återigen göra ett försök. Så fort det är möjligt. Och vi kommer att segla igen. Free Gaza, free Palestine.
So she's a fucking hero. She's a fucking hero. She's a total fucking badass. And she's going to send another one. That's my only request, is that if you got some extra dough, look, if you're completely strapped, okay, look, that's, you know, you do what you do and you're still going to do it. And I understand that. But if you got some extra dough, can you please, I don't know, is it, you know, how expensive would that be? $10,000 to put a net? You know, put a little net around some of these critical areas? Can't be that much. But anyway, total hero, Jeanette Escanilla on the flotilla. Here's my hero. I'm being 100% serious. There's so many right wingers and you know, people you know, have so many opinions about Greta. She's a fucking hero. Okay, she's my hero. A ship with humanitarian aid, which Greta Thunberg was due to board with, and activists from the Freedom Flotilla Coalition for Gaza, was bombed by drones off Malta early on Friday. Excellent job. The Maltese government said after a rescue operation that everyone on board was safe. So this is her just saying, damn, I could have been there. That's crazy. And man, you know, I mean, come on. If Israel kills Greta Thunberg, you know, that's going to do something. That's going to do something. Is the world really going to ignore that if some shit like that goes down?
Last night, a ship carrying humanitarian aid to Gaza was attacked by 2 drones on international waters off the coast of
I'll cry
Malta.
on stream,
30
dude.
people were on board, and this attack caused an explosion and major damage to the vessel, which made it impossible to continue the mission.
Israel and South Africa declare war on Israel. Homie, you're going to need a source on that one. That's a what? That's a headline. Was that down in my scroll? Is that my scroll thing say? Is there war? Is there war happening? Did they what? Huh? I'm going to need a source on that one, bro. Source vibes. All right. Okay. Big time trigger warning. There is no blood, there is no gore here, but this is a life-changing video. This is the reality of Israel's war against the Palestinian people. You know, you want to say but Hamas, you know, I want to call you a monster, okay? You know, the idea that any of this could be justified, and also the idea that the only way to do counterterrorism is with these kind of mass bombing campaigns. It's not debatable to me. This is a crime against humanity. The highest court in the land has determined this to be genocide, which last time I checked is one of the, you know, worst crimes a human being or a group of human beings can commit. Please correct me if I'm wrong somehow. Anyway, this video is very hard to watch. It's a small girl who miraculously survived a building collapsing around her. Her father is likely dead, and she is getting pulled out of the rubble. And her main concern is a watch, a toy watch that her father had given her. Here we go.
على ورا حاول على ورا الاء حبيبتي الاء انت كويسه يا حبيبتي ها بس امسك الساعه اللي ورا علي امسك الاء وليد هات الساعه هات يا حبيبتي هات الساعه لمين هذه يا الاء خليكي معايا بابا جاب لك اياها الساعه خلص هيها معايا يا حبيبتي هيها مع وليد ماشي يا حبيبتي تخافيش يا حبيبتي نعم هاي من برا بيستنوك عمامك هاي من برا يا حبيبتي
To those who continue to justify this, I only have hatred for you. That's all I have left for you. You say this is necessary. You say this is the only way. I know you're wrong. And no amount of propaganda and lies and word twisting and semantics and, you know. And to Hamas, who willingly played the fool for Bibi Netanyahu, who willingly set the stage, who have no nuance, who have no creativity, none, who act as perfect, useful idiots for Bibi Netanyahu. All I have left for you is hatred. You know, but to be fair, I don't think it ever it was ever anything else I ever had for you. But there's no we're the resistance, we're the legitimate government. There's nothing legitimate about Hamas. And they are partially to blame. Obviously, they're not pushing the buttons and firing the missiles, but they set the stage so beautifully for Bibi, you know, because we'll be hearing about October 7th our entire lives. Right? It's kind of replaced the Holocaust as the go-to excuse. Of course, the reason why this girl was crying out in pain was that her legs were crushed and debris was being moved. She was likely in a state of total delirium. Hopefully she survived. The Swiss under-23 fencing team turned their back on Israeli competitors during the national anthem. Totally agree with them, and I applaud them for their actions. You would say it's deplorable. Or no, I'm sorry. You would say it's performative. My bad. Stuck in the other segment there. You would say it's, some would say, I'm sorry, you, the straw men that I create every day. But no, some would say this is performative and this is ineffective and this is, don't belittle, don't bring politics into sports. Fuck you. The straw man that I've created, of course. I don't care if it's performative. I don't care if it makes you so, we bring in politics into fencing. Oh no. Boo. The sanctity of fencing. Don't give a flying fuck. Okay? Highest court in the land called it genocide, and don't tell me that you didn't just see that video. Unless you didn't, and that's okay. But no, I mean, look, if you are an Israeli speaking out against your government, you don't deserve this treatment. If you are an Israeli I'm proud Israeli, and I think this is great, and like it's look, you have to tell the world I don't agree with these actions. Just as I'm an American and I have to tell other people from other countries, like I'm sorry. Like, if I've ever had like a conversation with somebody, from Vietnam that experienced the American war, as they call it over there, like, yeah, I'm sorry about that. I had nothing to do with it. I wasn't even born then, but I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed for Cambodia. I'm ashamed for fucking Fallujah. So I think it's important sometimes. It's not like you have to wear that on your sleeve. You got to fucking wear like a black armband or something, right? A fucking upside down American flag black armband, like a funeral dirge or something, right? What the hell is a funeral dirge? Hold on, I know. Bloviation. What the hell is it? That's a song. Yeah, okay, yeah. Playing a funeral dirge on your phone with your American flag. Oh, who died? The American dream. Oh, okay. What can I get you, sir? Welcome to Subway. What can I get you, sir? Can you get me a freedom sandwich? That's a skit right there. Just the most completely insufferable political activist. Oh, God. Okay. This monster is Ben Gvir. This is just one of his latest genocidal statements. He is, I was corrected on the technicality that he's maybe not technically number 2 in government. But basically, by what I'm saying is he's very, very close to Bibi Netanyahu, and he is the main political faction challenging leadership with Bibi Netanyahu. The belief is that Bibi Netanyahu and him basically agree on the ultimate goal of ethnically cleansing all of Palestine. What they disagree on is the tactics. And honestly, it seems like Bibi Netanyahu, in order to keep his politics steady, has to agree with Ben Gvir and Smotrich more and more and more for him to continue to hold his political position together. Which is why I think we've seen an escalation in the violence and brutality across the board. Psychopath. Lenny is 100% correct. Psychopath. Total extremist. Quote, let's bomb the food warehouses in Gaza so that there is no food left, and let's blow up the generators and cut off their electricity completely. And the idea, of course, is to completely ethnically cleanse. And if you think I'm being hyperbolic, I have a clip literally of Smotrich saying we want to get rid of all the Gazans in Gaza, not just Hamas. They were sticking to the Hamas where, we just want to cleanse Hamas. We're just going after Hamas. They stuck to that for a little while. Now, once again, the mask just totally removed, right? It's already gone, but these little elements, these little masklets, these little rhetorical masklets, oh, doop, 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 doop. Come on. We don't have to fucking pretend. Come on. Pop, 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 pop. Here's the clip I was talking about. I've actually done my job, put these in the right order, but here's Smotrich right here saying specifically completely cleansed of Hamas and hundreds of thousands of Gazans, okay? This is an escalation of rhetoric. This is, it couldn't be more clear. They're literally telling us, they're proud and, hey, we can't wait. We're ethnically cleansing. We're morally right in doing that. And the United States has our back the whole way. I mean, now is the time to do it because Trump has made no indication that he's going to slow down, but it hasn't gotten real enough for Trump. Honestly, what I think Israel is underestimating is how much of a fucking coward that Donald Trump is, just how narcissistic he is. Israel thinks, oh, we got this in the bag. We have full support of Donald Trump. Donald Trump's support is fleeting, okay? That motherfucker will drop you like a lead balloon the moment it starts to make him look bad. So the moment this is like he can no longer shape and control the narrative that this is, him helping Israel is a good thing, I think we'll see cold feet very quickly if Israel continues with the brutality. And they've shown no sign of stopping, so I do believe that's what we're going to see.
אני משאיר מבט מכאן אל משפחותיכם ואל אזרחי ישראל. בעזרת השם ובגבורת חבריכם לנשק.
Always in the name of God.
ממשיכים להילחם גם כעת. נסיים את המערכה הזו כאשר סוריה מפורקת, חיזבאללה מוכה קשות, איראן עירומה מאיום גרעיני, עזה מנוקה לחלוטין מחמאס ומאות אלפי עזתים.
He says it really quick. He kind of does it pretty quick. But this is rhetoric that he normally would have left out, and a big smile on his face too, because he knows, tee hee, we're doing it. We're really doing it. All right, maybe not a big fucking smile. Maybe I'll take that designation back. That's probably not a fair characterization of his what his face was doing there. But it feels kind of cheeky, in my opinion.
ויותר מכך, בדרך החוצה ממנה למדינות אחרות, חטופינו שבו מלביתו ומקבר ישראל, ומדינת ישראל חזרה.
Right, but the most relevant is that hundreds of thousands of Gazans, right? Not Hamas. I mean, does Morning Joe need to hear him say innocent Gazans, children Gazans, men, women, and children? I mean, like, he's literally saying civilians until we've cleansed Gaza of its civilians. That's literally what he's saying in a speech in front of everybody. Okay. And this is like the number 2 under Ben Gvir, I believe. They all have high positions in government. They're all part of a, like I said, a coalition that's currently governing Israel. It's really happening. It's really happening. Like so, I mean, how are you going to do it? Are you dumping them? You dumping them in Africa? You dumping them in I think if they're going to be ethnically cleansing, like literally putting people on, boats and planes and shit, I think they're going to dump them in Africa. Was it Madagascar? Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's one of the countries in Africa that they're thinking of dumping all these Palestinians into. Just a desert, a fucking desert. Was it Rwanda? Is it Rwanda? One of those. Probably some fucking desert, some place that no one wants to live. Okay. Okay, so this one is a hard video as well. Of course, this is just an interview with a doctor who was working with civilians in Gaza. The things that he has to say are extremely difficult to hear about the kinds of wounds that he was treating. Once again, trigger warning, if you can't handle imagining the extreme suffering of children and imagining what this man went through, then, come on back in about 2 minutes, okay? This is extremely hard to listen to, including the interviewer herself starts crying as well. He's a big boy, and he had a big job, and he's got a big heart, and the horrors, I mean, the absolute unimaginable horrors that he has seen, unless it's all fake, right? I'm sure some IDF supporter would say, well, this guy's just an actor, and inject a bunch of doubt, and I bet you he's lying about half of it, and I bet you he's a fighter for Hamas, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Trigger warning.
I was outside on the streets cutting children's chests open to put in chest drains with no analgesia, no sedation.
Sorry, analgesia is anesthetic?
Painkillers. No painkillers, no anesthetic. A knife in my hand, cutting children's chests open and putting a chest tube in. And when they have these traumatic chest injuries, you need a big chest tube in. So you need to have a big hole in. Sometimes you need to put your finger in as well, put the finger inside their chest, open it up and put the tube in. And the children are conscious when you're doing that. And there's no sedation or painkillers when you're doing that, and you can hear them scream. And they're grabbing your hand because they want you to stop, but you have to keep going. And it's very, very hard to do that to a child. But we had to do that to dozens of children.
I really thought maybe I would try and get through this interview without crying, but it's actually very difficult to hear.
Yeah.
I don't know how you're so composed.
You've
seen it. You've been there.
I've cried so many times, and look, I'm I'll probably tear up and cry as well. But I have to live with that. Do you know? I have to live with that, and I have to live with what I did to those children, and it's very hard. I have to live with the decisions I made about which children I left to bleed to death and which children I chose to try and save, and I have to live with that. And it eats me up inside every day.
Yeah, imagine that. Because that's what you have to do in a war zone. You line them up by, okay, who's who needs treatment the most, and if there are human beings that are too far gone, and in this case we're talking about children. So he's got to sit there and say, this kid's dead. He's not dead yet, but he's gonna be. So I need to spend, it'd be a waste of my time to even try to save this child because I have other dying children. And, the nice little cherry on top is that if you're American, if you're British, if you're German, if you're, just all the countries contributing, and they just blank check it, oh, so sad, so sad, so sad. And the horror continues, but as long as the media doesn't talk about it, as long as the media does its job, and Israel does its job, intimidating the media, and it's just left up to us indie guys on the fringes in the underground. UK Starmer doesn't make a peep. Of course, the United States, bunch of fucking fascists, right? There's, Ireland is speaking up. Elements in Ireland are speaking up. You know, there's some voices in some countries and some places, but the overwhelming sound is silence and just support by default. Israel deserves to defend itself, on and on and on it goes. It's interesting how that needs to be stated right off the bat, because like I said, it's that foundational lie that if Israel were ever to stop defending itself, aka offensively killing people, being aggressive in any various ways, right? In various ways, I mean, that if they were to stop being that, having that stance and doing those things, that they would be annihilated immediately. So you know right away what you're getting when someone, you know, immediately says Israel has the right to defend themselves, because it's like, yeah, in a war, an ethnic cleansing campaign has nothing to do with defending oneself. I think we can all agree with that. And people far smarter than I am, you know, lawyers who are, you know, career legislators, or, you know, I'm just, you know, the people who understand international law, the people who understand history, the people who understand these things the best, have taken the longest and hardest and, you know, even-handed look they possibly can. These are not, you know, vicious anti-Semites looking to smear the Jewish people, you know, and not even close, right? They've looked at these things and they've said, without a doubt, you know, Israel is committing genocide. They threw in token, criticism of Hamas, who are clearly guilty of war crimes, October 7th, but even before October 7th, the goddamn things they were doing to people is just unbelievable. Fucking rockets, we could get into it. This is devastating footage, but at least it isn't children literally screaming in pain. Dozens, we'll get to, we got a couple more of starving children, so stay tuned. Dozens of Palestinian families break the siege that was imposed by the occupation forces in Tulkarm refugee camp in an attempt to reach their homes. 106 homes, which the Israeli occupation forces are planning to demolish. So the pogrom continues in the West Bank, and I wouldn't be surprised. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see settlers in the Gaza Strip before the end of the Trump administration's 4 years, or 400 years, who knows. But here's some footage here of, talk about just this one screenshot. I mean, I've been watching a lot of World War II documentaries again. I'm back to my fucking bullshit again. Back on my bullshit, watching colorized videos of World War II fucking, But anyway, this screenshot looks just like, just like fucking Warsaw, man. Oh, and then the music. Okay. All right. I think we'll give ourselves a little break on the music there. We'll just slow quiet. I look at the smartest people and they can't convince Israel supporters. I mean, no, there's no, look, it's, you know, what did it take? Even with all the concentrated effort, terrible Israel copying, terrible timing with that emoji. Israel copying American swag is whack. We're the ones that came up with the whole "there was one terrorist in a bill." Yeah, no, it's a good point, because Israel is very keen. The music bangs. Israel is very keen to remind people that this was the standards that they're following in Gaza is the almost to a T the standards that were followed by the American military in Iraq and Afghanistan. And if you don't believe me, watch Generation Kill. Okay. Is America, you know, America, but the thing was, America wasn't doing an ethnic cleansing of Iraq and Afghanistan. They were doing a temporary occupation. So there's big differences there. But in terms of the, how do you deal with, killing a terrorist? Do you send in 30 Marines to sweep the area, or do you drop a bomb on a building and annihilate everybody in the hopes that you've killed the one so-called terrorist? Well, that was exactly what the United States did. And it's interesting. There's several scenes in that HBO series, Generation Kill, where they're like, okay, we think there's a guy in there. Okay, we about to go in there, and the commanding officer is just like, nah, just annihilate the building, dog. Boop. And like man, women, and children all around it, everyone's killed, and then there we go. We all go home. You know, and they don't really get into it as much, but I believe, you know, a lot of that frustration is what, you know, one of the reasons that caused some of the, you know, cynicism that we saw, you know, created from a lot of the veterans of those conflicts, right? It's like, why are we here? Why am I kicking down doors? You know, why am I, whole Iraqi families emptied out of their home, and I gotta rummage through their fucking meager belongings. You know, why am I doing this? And then, you know, when they have an opportunity to do their job, they don't even get that's stolen from them. You know, that's stolen. Isn't there a scene in Jarhead where the guy's about to snipe somebody and he's got him in his sights, right? And he's about to fucking pull the trigger. But then the commanding officer comes in there and he's just like, airstrike it. And the guy's like, motherfucker, you spent hundreds of hours training me to be an expert at handling this weapon. I got this guy in my fucking sights. Give me the fucking go, right? You're going to bomb it anyway. Let me shoot him. And he completely lost his fucking mind, right? Because it's like, what the fuck am I even doing here? Good times. So a lot of the Louis Theroux put out a documentary called Hey, I know this shit's been happening for decades, but I just realized, and it's actually really bad. Just kidding, of course. Jokes. I do find it interesting, though, that everyone's like, what? There's an apartheid state? There's racism in the Israeli populace towards Palestinians? What? What is shocking? You know, and meanwhile, I mean, how long have you been alive? You know what I mean? Shit, man. I mean, it's really, you know, they don't hide it. They do not hide. Most people from Israel do not hide their disdain for the Palestinian state and the Palestinian people. I don't think funding terrorist groups is a good idea when it comes to, you know, creating change in a country. I believe there are other ways to carrot and stick and negotiate, especially if you're a large country like the United States and you got a lot of carrot and you got a big fucking stick. I think there are other ways to actually, you know, if you want to facilitate regime change or if you want to, you know, encourage one government or the other, outside of just, you know, sloppy, messy, you know, funding death squads and terrorists. You know, like it works if you're Bibi Netanyahu and you need a big bad boogeyman, or if you're George Bush and you need a big bad Taliban, right? It works for the purposes of imperialism. It doesn't really work in terms of creating democracy and a safer society, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, Louis Theroux over here, you know, he decided to actually go there and he did a documentary, and shocker, what he saw was exactly what we all know is happening, because we've been following this for a very long time. And like I said, you put a camera, you go to Israel and put a camera in front of anybody, and they're like, oh yeah, we got to annihilate them. You know, the only debate is how do you do it? The most people in Israel, and there are some people who believe in peace in Israel. Don't get me wrong, but I'm saying, you know, most people in Israel do. This is true. It's just a matter of time, right? Eventually, we're going to take over all of Palestine. How do we actually handle the Palestinian people? What do we do with them? That's really the only debate that seems to be happening amongst a good majority of Israeli people, right? I'm sure there's plenty of imagine being apolitical in this situation. You're like, who's my prime minister? Bibi? Who's that? That's funny. What's his name? Netanyahu? What do you mean? Our guy running this Yahoo? Palestinian? What's that? Is that a sandwich? Nah, man. I just play Xbox all day. I don't know what's going on. Literally. Imagine. But anyway, amazing, shocking footage. And, you know, this is, if you've been following this for a while, none of this should surprise you. Heavily recommend this documentary. Shocking stuff. But if you've seen a Palestinian documentary in the last 20 years, you've seen all of this. It's just amped up. You know, things have gotten worse. None of it has gotten better, right? Hey, Cody Culp, no problem at all. Thank you so much for coming in. I do appreciate it. You have yourself a good day. Get something done. Be productive.
Are you stuck? You in a rut? Why are you filming me?
Why are you wearing a mask? You know, only criminals wear masks. It's interesting that we're seeing ICE members in the United States starting to wear balaclavas and ski masks and whatnot. You only do that if you know for a fact that you're committing crimes.
It's all good, don't worry. We can't even see your face. Look, you're obscured. No one can even see who you are. Don't worry.
Well,
I don't know what to do with you.
Okay, honestly, you do get an exception if you are like the Mexican police and you're doing an operation against the cartel. In those kind of situations, it actually makes perfect sense to be wearing a mask, and you're not a criminal. You're actually trying to implement justice. So I will say there is some caveats. You know, it's kind of a gray area, but most of the time, okay, when a person who's in a position of an authority is wearing a face mask, it's because they know that they're committing crimes. But I will say there is a carve out for people who are dealing with criminal infestations like the cartel, right, or MS-13, right?
Why are you filming me?
They go after your family.
It's all good, don't worry. We can't even see your face. Look, you're obscured. No one can even see who you are. Don't worry. I don't know what to do with you.
Everyone on TikTok's a motherfucking Steven Spielberg with the fucking music.
In the check post and filming everything. You can't do this here, okay?
What? What?
Come with me. Wait, no, you can't do that. No, don't.
No. So look at it. Come with me. Come on, man. I'll take you to my rape dungeon. Come on, you're coming with me. You're a criminal now. It's interesting. He's resisting, right? He understands that as a white Westerner. You know, and these authorities probably know that he's probably like, oh, a big time BBC journalist. The music every fucking time with Shroud. That's a funny GIF. Shroud's got some funny GIFs.
Everything. You can't do this here, okay? Come with me.
Come on,
Wait, no,
come with me.
do that.
What? I'm just gonna take you to my rape dungeon. Come on.
Don't touch me. Don't touch me. No violence. Listen to me.
Come on, listen to me. I want to kidnap you.
Look, I'm from the military, okay? IDF, Israel Defense Forces. I'm above the police here in the West Bank. Okay.
Oh, big time, borderline feline. It would have been bigger news, but ultimately, you know,
we'll tell you
tragedy,
this, okay?
whatever. And you know, ultimately, if something like that were to happen, would BBC change their stance on how they're covering this? No. They're going right down with that fucking ship, man. People who might have been associated with the IDF accidentally killed renowned journalist Louis Theroux in a whoopsie doodle. It was all a big mistake, and Israel does have a right to defend itself, and just like to mention that.
And as this man, IDF, I need to tell you,
real bungler. You really bungled it this time, old BB.
Okay, leave this place, leave this area, okay? Right now, yalla. Fadali, let's go. Okay. Yalla, let's go.
Wow. Exactly, Nicholas. TikTok.
Let's go.
Nightmare apartheid state. Brought to you by TikTok. We have fun here. It's giggles and laughs all day. Navarra Media over here killing it as usual. Like and subscribe, folks. Get on the fucking Navarro Media. Yeah, they're a bunch of communists and anarchists or whatever the fuck. Okay, but they're talking real shit, and once you know, and unlike Hassan, they back it up with real academics. These people, you know, insufferable sometimes, but you know, they come correct when it comes to understanding history and you know, the academics of it. You know, real motherfuckers. So make sure you're liking Navarra Media, folks. If you want some real, you know, if you want real lefty media, right? Then you definitely want to check out Navarra Media, no doubt about it. Look at that. Almost to a milli mil. Big time. Blowing up. This is a very new media right here. So blowing up, almost 1 million. Love to see it. One more clip from this Louis Theroux documentary. And this really is the key clip. Okay, the whole documentary, I haven't seen it yet, but I can tell you it's a guaranteed banger because, I mean, all you need to do is point a camera at this crime against humanity. That's all you need to do, and it's laid out before us.
In one interview, Vice revealed her political understanding of that movement.
Do you have influence over government?
No question. Who did all this?
Can you call Netanyahu?
Maybe strategy.
What do you mean?
Thank you for all your help.
No, I call his aid.
So the idea is to force the government by putting people starts with small settlements, then they get bigger, then they get recognized by the State of Israel, and basically creating a new demographic reality.
We do not force a government. We do for governments what they cannot do for themselves. Even if you take Netanyahu now, he's very happy with what we do here and also about our plans to build Jewish communities in Gaza. He's happy about it, but he cannot say it. He says the opposite. It's not realistic. Good! We will make it realistic. It's not forcing the government, it's helping the government.
Really important points. So lots of the documentaries sort of.
So honestly, if you were to, so tell me how quickly the calls of
cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
Right. If you were to explain to someone casually who doesn't know what's going on, oh no, Israel is actually, say you're watching the news with a normie and you see a news clip in Israel, there's a new settlement, but Israel has arrested some settlers or something. And then you point out, oh, this is really more theater, for the news cycle. Really what's happening is a coordination between these settlers and government to illegally take the land that is then eventually absorbed into the Israeli state, legitimized in the Israeli state. There's all kinds of evidence of them, working with the settlers. Ben-Gvir literally handing settlers, AR-15s or whatever, high caliber machine guns, all that. How quickly, bro, what the?
Cool it with the anti-Semitic.
What, bro? What, bro? It's like, is there a Jewish conspiracy, bro? What? The programming is real. The knee-jerk reaction to resist any kind of acknowledgement of what's actually happening on the ground is definitely, I think history will consider one of Israel's greatest strengths to be propaganda, because they've done such a great job of laying out these foundational lies where you can't even question them, or else you'll be accused of having an irrational hatred towards Jewish people. God forbid you if you point out that it's actually anti-Semitic to assume that Israel speaks for all of Judaism. Heaven forbid. This amazing story, and by the way, big props to the Majority Report holding it down. Okay. You know what? I'm going to leave him alone. But this story's been making the rounds. A woman was mistakenly, I believe, she wasn't even a pro-Palestinian protester. Correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't actually read all this because I do my job and I'm a professional. But this woman was mistakenly identified as a pro-Palestinian supporter, and a large group of pro-Zionist, pro-Israel supporters mobbed her down, dude. Chased her down, and if it wasn't for a few heroes in the crowd, and I believe a security officer as well, a police officer or someone who was in charge of security in the area, protected this woman, allowing her to get some space between this bloodthirsty crowd, and from their perspective, totally justified. They're on a crusade. They're the heroes, right? They're stomping out evil wherever it goes. They won't stop until they've completely destroyed the entire concept of free speech, folks. Okay. Right now, what are we seeing? Well, how are we seeing Donald Trump justify his incredible clampdown on free speech? Of course, we're seeing Palestine being used as the mallet. Let's get to it.
Jashinsky, this woman who wanted to remain anonymous and went on with Dropsite and spoke about her experience.
So, it was kind of later in the evening, around 10:30, and a helicopter had been hovering over my building for around 30 minutes.
In a neighborhood, was simply heading home.
So I went outside to see what was going on, and I encountered the the aftermath of a protest.
You can't even mind your own fucking business.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Kingston Avenue in Eastern Park.
So, just to clarify, she was not engaged. She was not a part of the protest.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, because it's like, okay, she must have been at least, you know, casually standing at the she wasn't even at the protest, man. I mean, they really, oh man, you know, I mean, this is the problem with big crowds, right? You know, things can get out of hand very, very quickly. And what would have happened if those people weren't there? I mean, look, I don't want to speculate, but it's like she probably would have been hurt, right? I'm not going to say anything worse, right? But the thing is that, you know, the thing about, there's an energy to it, you know, ooh, one person pushes her and another person kicks her and ooh, now she's on the ground and I'm going to get a few kicks in and then I'm going to run away. If you've ever seen, you know, big crowds and how they victimize people, you'll see how that things can escalate very, very quickly. And, you know, it can get very scary.
She was not a part of the protest.
Yeah, underline that for folks.
Yes.
Pro-Israel supporters, collateral damage? No,
Could have thought.
on. That never
This was just going to go after the nasty anti-Semites that are apparently within the anti-Palestinian movement. Apparently, just being around.
And this is where the left loses me, because there are some anti-Semites in the left movement. Where we're going to deny that there aren't tankies that get a big fucking kick out of being anti-Semitic, like they get a special free pass. What? Because you're acknowledging that Israel is committing a fucking ethnic cleansing that allows you to say some stupid fucking shit about Jewish people as a whole, right? To repeat some fucking German style, you know, you talk about nose sizes and all kinds of these like distasteful jokes, you know, they start busting out the old classics. That should exist in the left movement as well. And honestly, look, man, the more we try to talk around it, the easier it is for bad actors to say, see, you're hiding it, you're denying it.
These Nazis.
It's fringe. It's totally fringe. These people do not represent progressivism as a whole, but there are, you know, I see them in the chat sometimes. You know, they got the Mao icon and they start making anti-Jewish jokes. You know, it's like, oh man, you know, you can criticize Israel without getting into all that, man. I mean, talk about, you know, low-hanging fruit over here. You know, we don't have to get into Jewish conspiracies to have a substantive conversation about what Israel is doing to the Palestinian people.
These fascist brown shirts is
borderline feline. There were some recent polls, I think, from 2024. If you want to type in, you know, public sentiment, you know, the basic gist is that a majority in Israel, you know, they voted for Bibi, you know, but the polls do show overall support for some kind of solution that might be considered final on the question about Palestinian people.
Threat to even bystanders.
When I arrived at
Matt chimes in too much.
Kingston Avenue,
I would
Eastern
know.
Parkway, right where the Shabbat is.
And so what happened next?
Yeah, so I was standing on the sidewalk.
It's like
there were
60-ish, 70-ish, 60, 70-ish.
On the sidewalk, pretty much only Orthodox Jewish people, mostly men. And then there were some
So this is nuts,
other,
man. She's just trying to get around, and they're like, "Oh, get her! Look at the wokester! Look at she's got a whammon. She's a whammon over here. It's a whammon. Get her! She probably supports Palestine like whammon do." Like, man, I'm just trying to get home. You know, this stuff can easily get out of hand.
neighbors like myself standing on the sidewalk just watching the scene to see what was going on.
And I want to say that's an important point, because actually we had reported earlier that you were a pro-Palestine demonstrator, and that's not the case. To be clear, you were just sort of a bystander who was watching the chaos unfold in your neighborhood, right?
That's right.
And so I understand that. Well, why did they mistake you for somebody that needed to be assaulted?
That's a decent question.
Yeah, so what happened, and it happened really quickly, was that people near me began filming, and I didn't want to be on anyone's camera roll.
Right. So she's like, nah, I'm not trying to, probably not being a super dick about it, but also being like, I'm just trying to get around you here. I'm not trying to, Trying to get to the fucking 7-Eleven, dog, just trying to get through here. And look, do I believe she should be pro-Palestine? Do I believe she should stand up for human rights, right? And make that stance? Yes, of course. But I also believe in, minding your own business. It's a democracy. It's free speech. Look, you want to be political, but maybe you don't want to be political today. Maybe you got to, get home and take a shower and you're going to be political tomorrow, right? That's all I ask for, right? It's a lifestyle. You ask yourself, what do I want to contribute? I need to contribute. How do I contribute? Maybe I could do this protest, or maybe I could do this other thing, right? So she has a right to mind her own business, even though there's a protest, even though there's a human rights crisis happening, all that, right?
So I pulled up my scarf over my face, and I just want to be clear that it was not a keffiyeh. It wouldn't matter if it was.
I've watched some clips, Meat Shield.
And that just escalated things almost immediately.
Interesting. Okay. Wow. So she put a scarf over her head. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Look, it's a hidden Muslim. We got one. Look, we got one. We uncovered a hidden. She's pulling out her hijab. Look at that. Oh, we got her. Oh my God. I am political in the shower. You know it, man.
I just want to underline Kathy Hochul and other sort of Democrats passing mask bans on behalf of these sorts of people.
Well,
Okay, they're chiming in, yada yada. It's a good, check out the Majority Report with Sam Cedar. They're good folks. I think they learned their lesson with I don't know. I won't get into it. I've officially removed Emma Vigeland off my shit list. Welcome back, Emma Vigeland, to the good graces of the News Underground. I'm sure you care so much. But anyway, it's good stuff. Like and subscribe, folks. Terrible stuff, and crowds can be dangerous. Zionist protester tells pro-Palestinian protester that they should be Robloxed, and then all of them deserve to die. This is the kind of casual hatred we see quite a bit in America during pro-Palestinian protests. This stuff is never, ever covered in the mainstream media, even by, Joyanne Reid tried to give herself credit. She wasn't getting into stuff like this. And of course, Morning Joe and Mika Brzezinski never. No, these are just crazy people. They don't speak for the entire Jewish movement. But what do we think would happen if a person, in the full, with a Palestinian scarf and they're super Muslim, and some of them, they're just like super Muslim. Okay. They got a fucking Quran in their hand and they're screaming about how they hate Israelis and how they hate Zionists and how they hate and this and that, and I'm going to bomb this, I'm going to blow this up. That would be front and center Joe Scarborough, still front and center BBC. But of course, none of this is ever shown on mainstream. Never. And the reason why is that they would say, oh, well, that's, this person doesn't speak for all of Israel. This person isn't, this person who's literally, shouting for the rape and death of people who support Palestinians. They don't represent the movement. I mean, come on, let's be honest. But like I said, in the inverse, that person would make headlines. You want to be famous for 15 minutes. You want your face in the newspaper, dress up like a pro-Palestinian protester, get in front of a camera and say how much you agree with Hamas and I love Hamas, just do all the propaganda talking points, and oh boy, you're hitting that 24-hour news cycle, guaranteed. Your face will be all over the news 24/7 for at least 24 hours. So Zionist shouts at protesters, "You all deserve to die. You should be Robloxed."
Fuck Palestine! Fuck Palestine! Fuck Palestine! You should be raped! You should be raped! Right now! I'm not a dumb bitch! I'm an American! You're a dumb fuck! Go fuck yourself! You all deserve to die! All of you! I hope they murder you also!
Yeah, so I'm happy agreeing with people that say this person doesn't represent the whole movement. I'm okay with saying that, but what I'm not okay with is the hypocrisy, because those people that would say, like a Barry Weiss, right? She would say, "Oh, come on, it's ridiculous. How dare you try to paint the entire pro-Zionist movement as this woman, you know, it's very dishonest, you know, et cetera, et cetera." My problem is that Barry Weiss would say those things, she'd clutch her pearls, and then the very next day she'll show clips of Hassan, you know, saying his stupid comparison to the stupid controversy that I was just talking about earlier. Anne Frank, the stupid comparison he's making to Palestinians and Anne Frank or some shit like that. You know, they're happy to grift off that. They're happy to be hypocritical. And I don't think it's fair to let crazy people speak for your movement, but it's guilt by association is really, really powerful. And what do we see corporate media doing? They often play that game. They often are okay playing along with guilt by association narratives if they, of course, go along with the oligarchy supported narratives, right? Okay, starving children. Here's 2 minutes. Here's 2 minutes of the absolute pain and suffering that Ben-Gvir thinks is necessary, and Bibi Netanyahu is spending millions of donated dollars to achieve. They are intentionally, of course, restricting food from getting in. They are attacking flotillas that are desperately trying to provide food. The idea is self-deportation, I guess. Is that what they're going for now? They're giving that a shot. Let's see, crank up the suffering to 11 and see if we can't get several 100,000 of these people to do a Trail of Tears kind of exodus into Egypt. They're just going to crush their bodies up against the Egyptian border barrier until they break through. Or Jordan, I don't know. What the hell's going on? My fucking browser just crashed, dog. Oh, no. This old mare, she ain't what she used to be. Oh, no. Okay, I'm going to click the button. Oh, God. Restore. Oh, it crashed again. Oh, no. Oh, this is bad news. It crashed again, folks. This is really bad news. And it just crashed again. I think Daddy's going to need to literally restart his computer, dude. Hold on. I've had my computer in. Okay, no, don't do that. Okay, literally, okay. No, come on, guys.
Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
All right, I'm literally going to have to restart my computer, so that literally means the stream is going to have to end for a couple minutes. I'm sorry. There's I could get a laptop and do something extravagant, but no. I'm just going to hit the restart button and cross my fingers that I can get my web pages back. All right, be patient. Please be kind and be patient. I will